Hey there guys and girls, Matthew here and welcome back to another video. So today I've just got a really short one for you, basically more of a public service announcement more than anything else. Yeah, Enchanting, it just feels broken. We're still at the point where things are potentially going to change in the beta, and I really do hope that to be the case. But considering we're now in sort of borrowed time, the game should already theoretically have been released. I can't imagine there's going to be any huge dramatic changes. And I just want to put this little video out there as last time I did this, it was for dual crafting earlier in the beta, and not to say that Blizzard saw the video and took action simply based on what I put out as a video, but things changed. Even if there's the slightest possibility for that to reoccur again, I thought I should give it a little bit of a go if nothing else. So I just want to talk quickly for a few minutes about Enchanting, and I just want to say that it's not game-breakingly broken. It's just really badly designed, and what I want to talk about in specific is the materials that you use with Enchanting, and the way that it's going to affect the profession as a whole. There's a really strong chance that if it goes live in the fashion that it is right now, that Enchanting could be just a dead profession within literally a matter of weeks, and it's simply on the basis that the materials all combine into each other. To give you an indication, you can see on the tooltips here that Soul Dust combined 3 Soul Dust to create a Sacred Shard. Not really an issue there. But then you have combined 3 Sacred Shards to make an Eternal Crystal. Now, in normal fashion, combining materials to make a bigger and better material is not entirely uncommon. But the way that Enchanting has always worked in the past is that you get your epic crafting materials from disenchanting epic items. You get your mid-tier enchanting materials, often your shards, from disenchanting blue gear, and you likely get your basic entry level, or dust in this case, from disenchanting green gear. Now this is all cool because theoretically epic gear is less readily available in the game, and so it makes the crystals rarer. Rare gear is theoretically rarer, still potentially craftable, but at a greater cost on average. And then your green gear to create the basic entry level dust is readily available, super cheap and easy to craft, and so the most abundantly available material. This balances itself out quite nicely. It gives each material its own individual value, but the way that they've implemented it in Shadowlands as it stands right now just feels really broken. And the reason being is that not only can you convert all of your materials up very quickly, you get the ability to convert all of those crystals back down, and this is where the problem lies. During the skilling up of Enchanting, I believe it's at skill 70, I want to say, you get the ability to take an Eternal Crystal and then shatter it into 3 Sacred Shards. So you're able to go up from Sacred Shards using 3 to get a single crystal, and then back from that 1 crystal back down to 3 Sacred Shards. You're able to do a complete 1-for-1 conversion. There's no sort of cost to doing this in any way, shape or form, and the worst thing then becomes when you get slowly further into the game, you also then get the ability to take a Sacred Shard and break that down into 3 dust. Now this is currently only held behind Honoured Reputation with the Wild Hunt. This could theoretically be picked up in the first day. This is how quickly the entire system could just collapse on itself. And what do I mean when I say it's going to collapse on itself? Well, simply when you have all of the materials being able to convert into any of the other materials without any conversion cost in doing such, you basically might as well just have one material. At that point, the value of those materials is always going to rotate around what is the most cheapest and easily and most readily available material to get hold of, which in this case, because we spoke about green items disenchanting into dust primarily, everything will be based upon the price of dust. A Sacred Shard will just be 3x the value of a single piece of dust. An Eternal Crystal will always be 9x the value of a single piece of dust. This completely destroys the profitability of any crafting profession. Like I said, it's not particularly game breaking. What this could ultimately mean for the game as it goes forward is that the top level enchants. You look at the top end. Let's take your weapon enchants, for example. They use an eternal crystal and they use 4 sacred shards. The reality is these top end maximum enchants could theoretically end up costing 150, 200 gold. They're virtually nothing. Not only that, they're also going to be super readily available. There's virtually no scarcity, no rarity, no issues with being able to craft any of this. There's going to be no trading of enchanting at all, because everybody will just have an enchanter. They'll just have it on their alt. There's not even strict level requirements for enchanting in any way, shape or form. You could theoretically be level 50, 51. You could be doing the Threads of Fate leveling on an alt. You could get yourself honoured with the Wild Hunt just by doing a few daily world quests through the Threads of Fate. You'd likely then be, I don't know, mid 50s. You're not even level 60, but you could have a personal enchanter that you could send all of your greens to, all of your blues to, obviously assuming that they're bind on equip, of course. But you could send all of your gear to them. You could even craft gear with tailoring. This is the worst thing about it. Look at this, for example, Shrouded Cloth. This is a tailoring item that's currently in the game. It's one of the first crafts that a tailor unlocks, and it uses only 4 pieces of Shrouded Cloth. But each and every time you craft one of these and then subsequently disenchant it, you're virtually guaranteed yourself an average of just over 2 dust per cloth. 2 dust for every 4 cloth. So you put in 2 Shrouded Cloth and you get a dust out. That is going to completely trash the market for enchanting. So yeah, it's not game-breakingly broken. It just feels really poorly designed. And now, just ranting about it, I don't think is fair. There are a couple of things that I would like to suggest as implementations that could make this feel a little bit better. Yesterday on stream, we were talking about this in great detail, so make sure you check the VOD out for that if you want to see the whole discussion at large. But we almost unanimously decided that being able to craft up to the top level material, in this case being the Eternal Crystal, is not really something that should be the case. Admittedly, yeah, sure, fine. You take your soul dust and you convert it into sacred shards. That's okay. We accept that. We live with that. Mainly because you can always craft green items. You can always craft blue items and disenchant them. Obviously, they have their variancy in cost. But actually being able to skill up into an Eternal Crystal feels really weird and feels like we're put in a position where it's just going to diminish the value of the crystal instantly. So, if you were to take that chain out of the link, you would somewhat solve an issue. You would solve the problem that it would create the Eternal Crystal, give a decent amount of value to an Eternal Crystal, but it also introduces one additional problem into the game, and it's then how do you get these Eternal Crystals? If you've spent any time looking at the beta right now, or you've experienced any expansions in the expansion launches in the past, you'll know that epic gear is incredibly rare. You're not going to get it from your dungeons straight away. You'll get it from Mythic Plus, of course, but in very limited quantities. The raid is not going to be out for a good period of time, and even then, the raid gear that does drop, most people are going to be equipping it, not disenchanting it. The first patch of an expansion, epic items are super rare, and that's almost becomes a problem that there's going to be no way to acquire Eternal Crystals unless you have this skill up. So, there's a fix to that as well. Give it to alchemists. Alchemists are seriously lacking any sort of end-game use right now above and beyond their regular potions and flasks. In simple terms, they only have 1 transmute so far. Give alchemists the ability to transmute up to the crystals. It creates a nice link between the different professions. You could even have it as the alchemist's daily cooldown so that they can choose between creating Eternal Crystals, or they can choose to create the, what's it called? I think it's the Shade Stone that is then used in the cauldrons. They get given the choice. There's the option there available to them. It simply just creates that nice link, and I think it would work very nicely going forward. It moves this sort of weird craziness that we can craft up and craft down. It gives a lot more value to the top end enchants. Anything that then starts to use a crystal is going to be considerably more valuable to a player, simply on the premise that it's going to be considerably more costly for an enchanter to make. There's a somewhat element of scarcity created around the eternal crystals, which I think at least one material from a profession should be in that situation. So I'm going to leave it there for this video, guys. I'm hoping that really explains that it's not let me just reiterate one last time, it's not a game breaking issue with enchanting, and I don't want it to sound like I'm just ranting, but in reality it just feels like it's been really poorly designed so far, and I hope some of the advice I've offered could be used to go forward to try and make the profession just feel a little bit nicer again. So then, guys, I hope that's been helpful to you. I've been Mantheus. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.